Booktube! My name is Sarah and welcome to The Bookish Knitter. Today I'm coming to you with my weekly reading update. So this week I finished 3 books. Today is Sunday. It is the what day is it today? It's the 29th of December. We have 3 more days left of the year. So my attempt is to finish 3 books in the next 3 days. No, 5 books in the next 3 days. I will be starting a vlog tomorrow on Monday. So you'll see that next weekend. So stay tuned for that. The vlogs will be replacing these videos every week. So, like I said, stay tuned to that to see if I do it. 4 of the books I already have started. 1 I have not started yet. So we shall see how this goes. I predict the 4 books I'm already reading will get done. But will I get that last book in? We shall see. So, like I said, today is the 29th of December. I have not done a video since last Sunday. I took the week off. Like I did a couple of shorts up until Christmas Day. And then I decided I did have a plan. I did a live show on yesterday with Fiona over at Reads and Eats about our Sarah Morgan readathon, or read along, excuse me. And I just kind of took a chill week, you guys. I had a biopsy on Monday, which was fine. It was fine, whatever. I actually, to be honest, did not feel that great after it. I was really sore. My neck was really sore. And the doctor did explain to me that unfortunately going forward, the more frequent that these biopsies are, like not frequent, but the more I have them done because of scar tissue, they're going to be more and more unpleasant. It's not that they hurt while they're getting done. It's the soreness afterward and the fact that they have to use a bit more freezing, which is unpleasant because it feels like a bee sting when they're doing the freezing part of it. So I really wasn't feeling that great on Monday. So I ended up coming home, taking some Tylenol, and actually having a nap, which I haven't done before after the biopsies. So clearly I needed it. But I felt much better on Tuesday. And then Fiona and I were supposed to do the live show on Thursday, but I had a pretty bad headache that day for whatever reason. So I canceled it and we did it on Saturday instead. The rest of the week was pretty uneventful, even though it was Christmas. Garrett was off Christmas Eve and we had McDonald's for dinner. And then Christmas Day, we had pizza, traditional Christmas pizza, which I'm hearing from a lot of people is not untraditional. Like it just sounds like a lot of people have that as well. And on Thursday, which was Boxing Day, there was a video call. My mom and my aunt and my uncle and all them went over to my brother's place with him and his wife and the kids. And Garrett and I opted to stay home because I just wanted to be safe and not get sick. You know, in case someone had a cold, you can't be extra careful. And so we did a video chat and I got some lovely presents. My sister-in-law made me a beautiful blanket. And my niece and nephew my niece picked out a mug for me that says, "Hocus Pocus, I need this to focus," which if you guys didn't know, Hocus Pocus, one of my favorite movies. And my nephew picked this out for me. My sister-in-law gave him a couple of choices and he picked this one and he picked very well, in my opinion. This is a Peeps. If anyone knows me, I know this is controversial. I love Peeps. I love Peeps marshmallows, but it's a hot chocolate kit. So you get hot chocolate and then the Peeps that you would put into the hot chocolate. So I haven't used it yet, but I am definitely looking forward to it. Super, super awesome. So yeah, cannot wait to use that. And yeah, so it was a nice chill Christmas. Garrett and I got talking because the last couple of years have been pretty rough for us. Like last year was really rough mentally, not knowing what the future was going to hold. And then this year, just because we had to be like separated from people, for my health. So we actually talked about maybe next year even going away. Just the 2 of us, just going away for Christmas might be kind of nice. So we shall see how that goes. We'll start saving our money now. And yeah, so that's been my week. I hope you guys have had a good week. It's New Year's this coming week. I cannot believe it. I am getting, reading prepared for next year. I just yesterday watched the video from Leandra and I can't remember the name of her channel. I'll leave it linked below. But she's hosting the January TBR-a-thon. And there's some I'm going to participate. And I'm going to do the bingo board for anyone else who knows what's happening with that. She's got 3 different ways that you can participate. I'm doing the bingo board. I have my TBR already set. So I'm not changing my TBR to fit the bingo board. Basically what's going to happen is as I read books, if they fit on the bingo board, I will mark them off. And then see if I get a bingo by the end of the month. That's pretty much what I'm planning to do. So yes, I've been getting all that prepared. I love this time of year. I love like the very end of December. I love the holidays. I love getting, the new and figuring out our new plans for next year. And I get the same excitement at the end of every month, like planning my new books I want to read and getting my spreadsheets ready to go and all the things. And the one big spreadsheet that I use the girl, it's actually the Hardback Hoarder, if you guys have ever watched her booktube channel. She hasn't posted in quite some time. I think she doesn't really post that much anymore, but she created these spreadsheets, and she has an Etsy shop, and her spreadsheets are the ones that I use. And she is on hiatus right now, and she said on her thing that she's preparing the 2025 spreadsheets, but it's already the 29th and nothing's been posted yet. So I'm getting a little anxious. I might have to reuse next year's and just change the year. But I would still like a new one because I kind of want a different color. I know that sounds weird, but it's a thing. So anyway, I've been yammering on. I finished 3 books this week, so let me share them with you. Guys, it was a mediocre reading week, to be completely honest. Nothing was above what was the highest rating that I gave? 3.5 stars was the highest rating I gave, which in all reality is not a bad rating, but it's average. Everything was average. Nothing blew me out of the water. And the first one, this was actually, even though I gave it 3.5 stars, I'm almost tipping it down to a 3-star. This one was my biggest disappointment of the week. And I've talked about this on a couple of live shows, if you've seen those. But yeah, I just was not impressed. How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. I was disappointed in this. Now, I did listen to this on audio, on Audible, and this was narrated by like a full cast. There was 4 different narrators. There was the 2 main narrators. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people. And then you had 3 extra people. So it was narrated by Vanessa Edwin, J.F. Harding, Robert Hatcher, Emma Wilder, and Shane East. And I love the narration, and I love the beginning of this book. The first half of this book was fantastic. Now, Megan Quinn writes on the spicier side, and I knew that going in. So I was not surprised. There's a lot of innuendo in the beginning of the book, a lot of comments back and forth between our 2 main characters, Story and Cole. And, you take them with a grain of salt because, again, I knew this was Megan Quinn. And I am okay with spice. Spice does not bother me in a book. I am one of those people who can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter to me either way. I know for some people it is like a no-go. For other people, it's a must. They must have it in there in order for them to enjoy the book. And that's fine. Everybody is correct. But I feel like in this one, it was a little overdone. So basically the plot of this book is exactly like every other Christmas romance out there. He's the Grinch. She's the Christmas. Well, she's not even that much of a Christmas lover, to be fair. He's a bigger Grinch because his parents died at Christmas time. And she is back in this little town called Kringletown. And her aunt has fallen and broken her hip. So her and her sister have come to town to look after her aunt for the month. Her sister's a registered nurse, so she's actually looking after the aunt. And Story, our female lead, is actually participating in this Kringle event in town to win the title of Christmas Kringle or something like that. So Cole and her kind of pitted against each other, and romance ensues. And I loved it. I loved all the nods to a Grinch. Like the fact that, right from the title, How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, to the fact that Cole's best friend's name is Max, which is the dog's name in The Grinch. And there's a scene that they dress up as the Grinch and the dog. And the aunt's name is Cindy Louise, or like Cindy Lou Who. So, there was all these great little nods to the Grinch, which I really appreciated. And I thought the story was adorable. And I was loving the full cast recording of it. Like, what I really liked is, like, if Cole and Story were talking to each other, it wasn't like if she was narrating that chapter, it wasn't like she was also narrating his voice. So you were getting, like, her doing his voice. He would pop in and do his own voice, if that makes sense. And I really, really enjoyed that. It really makes it sound so much better. And I mean, like, no knock to just single, narrators on audiobooks, but that just brings a whole other dimension to it. And I loved it. Here was my issue. Almost the entire second half of the book was nothing but sex scenes. Like, it was constant. And they were very open door. The door wasn't just, the door was wide open and you had photographers outside. Like, it was wide open. And again, I can take it or leave it. It doesn't bother me. If it had been 1 or 2 scenes, like the first scene, I kind of flipped through it a little bit, or like fast forwarded through it on the audiobook. But then it was like constant. So you get like one chapter with the story, and then the next chapter would be love scene, and then story, and then love scene, and then story. And then it was too much. And again, there are a certain group of people who love romance novels who love that. And this is the book for them. It was not the book for me. And I just am a little disappointed in that, like And again, this is why the story was 500 pages long. This could have been cut significantly. If you had cut out a good number of those love scenes, this book would have been shorter and more concise and whatever. But again, there are people out there who read this who are like, that's what they read it for, and they loved it for that. And again, no one is wrong, but I'm just explaining why I didn't personally care for it. So that way, depending on what your personal taste is, you can decide whether or not this is one that you want to pick up yourself. Will I get rid of this book? I do not know, because I did buy the special edition off of Amazon because it had the pictures inside. I mean, it's a gorgeous little book, and I think it will look super cute on my shelves. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So, yay. Or boo, I should say, not yay, boo. And I really like Megan Quinn. I mean, I've read her before. I read one of her Scottish books. And again, I knew going in that she was spicy, but I just didn't realize how spicy this one was going to get. So, yeah, anyway, that's a thing. So the next book that I finished was A Cowboy to Remember by Stella Bagwell. This is the 55th book in the Men of the West series, written by Stella Bagwell. She basically kind of writes this series all about like cowboys and and this is the story of Hunter and Willow / Anna. And I read this on my Kobo and I gave it 3.5 stars. So this one was an amnesia story. So our main character Hunter is a rodeo, what do you call it? Like he puts together rodeos, and he is in this small town in California. And 4 years earlier, his wife, Willow, had walked out on him and their marriage and filed divorce papers, like sent them through a lawyer. And he hadn't seen her since. And he's walking into this hotel that he's staying at, and who does he run into? Is Willow. But she goes by the name Anna now. She was in a car accident 4 years earlier and has absolutely no memory of who she was before. But of course, he knows who she is. So, the story goes from there of, does he tell her she knows who he is, or he knows who she is? She has no clue. The two of them are developing a relationship, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it all works out in the end. It's a romance. I'm not really giving anything away. It was a fine 3.5 stars. It was a good story. I didn't dislike it. My one issue with it is, there is some love scenes in this book as well. They are open door, but they're not that spicy for open door. I'd say they're like mid-open door. The door's cracked a bit, let's put it that way. But they do sleep together, and she doesn't know who she is. And I kind of didn't sit well with me. Like, he knew who she was, and I think that he was really duping her, and that shouldn't have happened, but that's just my opinion. The other thing that's not addressed till much later in the book is how on earth she got a job in an apartment with no memory, with no ID, with no social insurance number, social security number, with nothing, no birth date, no nothing. How did she get? So it's kind of explained in passing later in the book, but I just felt it was kind of glossed over. And I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. It was one of those things that I kept thinking about. Like, every time she mentioned her job, I'm like, but how did you get the job? You don't have a social security number. You don't have a birth certificate. You have nothing. So, and everything was kind of very convenient. The car caught on fire, and even the VIN number was destroyed. Is that a thing? Like, I thought the VIN number was put in a place that couldn't burn or couldn't, like the black box on a plane. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So anyway, it was fine. It was a fun little story. It was a Harlequin romance novel. I love these books. It was fun. It was fine. And the last one was another audiobook. I picked this one up at random. And yes, this was fourth in the series. Don't come at me. This was A Holiday Homicide by Ellie Alexander. This is the fourth book in a secret bookcase mystery series. Like I said, I did listen to it on audio from my library. And it was narrated by Ellen Quay. I gave this one 3 stars, guys. I did not like this book. I did not love this book, I should say. I shouldn't say I didn't like it. I didn't love it. This is a series I don't know if I will go back and start from the beginning. So this is the story of a woman named Annie who works at this bookshop in Northern California, I think it is. And it's the secret bookcase, and it's all kind of dedicated to mysteries, which I find weird because it's a small town and that seems like a very niche thing. So anyway, it's the holidays and they're hosting this gingerbread competition, like gingerbread house competition. And this very famous baker influencer is in town, and she's going to judge this competition, and she ends up dead. So the plot of this series, from what I gather from not reading the first 3 books, is that something happened to Annie with her roommate from college named Scarlett, who she died. And Annie's kind of a private investigator, or was, and now she's working at this bookshop, but she's still investigating her best friend's death from a decade ago. So while you're reading this book, you're getting 2 mysteries, which I didn't like because the book is not that long, you guys. The audiobook, I think, came in at less than 6 hours. It was like less than 200 and some odd pages. And to throw 2 mysteries in there, I thought it did disservice to this first. The mystery I was into for was the death of this influencer. Like, who killed her? And I feel like that was such a very small part of this story. I felt more of the story. She kept talking about her friend Scarlett and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I go back to the, like, keep it simple, people. Please just keep your cozy mystery simple. That's why I love them. You know, the town curmudgeon chokes on a cookie and dies at the Christmas pageant. And, you know, the local baker needs to find out how she died. Let's do that. I don't need, you know, a 10-year-old cold case as well, with the fact that you want to be a private investigator and you know all this stuff. It also didn't feel very cozy to me because the plot of a cozy mystery is that the lead person is usually an amateur. That's the point. It's like the Olympics of mysteries. You need to be an amateur. Whereas it sounded to me, she was schooled in this, so she kind of knew what was going on. That doesn't make her an amateur, that makes her a professional.
I see. Yes, and I've sort of been maintaining my amateur status so that I can waitress in the Olympics.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy this one, guys, and I'm kind of glad I stepped in at book 4 and just kind of read it and just read it for what it was. I know a lot of you out there who have read the whole thing are probably like, start at the beginning, but I just don't think, it's not high on my list. Let's put it that way. There are a lot of other cozy series I would rather read than this one. It will probably go on the list, but it'll be way down the list. Let's put it that way. So, and this, I think, is the first Ellie Alexander I've ever read, too, which is a little bit of a disappointment. So I'm hoping the rest of her books are not like this either. So anyway, guys, that is it. I don't have a lot else to share with you. I really didn't do much crafting this week. I've worked a bit on my bird, cross-stitch, but didn't really get a lot done because there's so many color changes. And again, I had the biopsy on Monday. I wasn't feeling well. And then Tuesday, and then Christmas, and then Boxing Day, and blah, blah, blah. And I only got a little bit done on my socks. I'm not going to bother showing you guys my crafting. I'll bring that back in the vlogs next week. And what am I currently reading? So my current ebook is Fa La 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 Faking It by Terry Wilson, which is delightful. I think it's the 3rd book in the Comfort Paws series. It's another special edition. I'm reading through the entire November box set of the special edition novels from Harlequin. The 4th book is the one that the extra book I hope to get to before the end of the month, which is the Dreidel book. It's a Hanukkah book. But anyway, with this one, it is a fake relationship. They knew each other when they were kids. She has a dog who is a therapy dog. It's Terry Wilson. Terry Wilson writes the cutest books, and she was made to write Christmas books, in my opinion. So this one I am really, really enjoying. And audio I'm listening to, I'm not really enjoying it, but at this point, do I go ahead and start a different book? I am currently listening to The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park, which is a young adult Christmas romance. And the reason I did that is because this, because of how spicy it was, I just felt like I needed to tone things down a bit on my next romance. And so I picked up a YA thinking, okay, here we go. So it's basically about these 2 high school seniors who don't much like each other. They kind of always been in competition with each other. But the mall that their parents both run restaurants out of is closing, and they need to try and save the mall before Christmas. That's the plot of the story. I realized the other day, that I tend to, or I had for the past number of years, up until last year, I tended to end the year with a thriller. For whatever reason. I always read a thriller at the end of the year. And I'm not doing that this year. And that's why part of me, I'm only 20-ish% of the way through this Christmas Clash, and I've been listening to it for about 2 days. So I think I might just go ahead and just call it quits and put it down and read something else. I might just go through my library and see if I can find a thriller. So stay tuned for the vlog next week to see what I actually end up picking up. Because that might be interesting. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you read this week. Have you read any of the books that I talked about? What did you think about them? And what books are you ending the year with? Let me know. And until my next video, everybody, I will be having a video coming out on New Year's Eve, and it will be my January TBR. And it is an epic pile of possibilities. Let's put it that way. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you then. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.